And now we are going to move on to another presentation, and this time it's on India and the dance of Chhau. And this presentation, in fact, I'm going to take over this presentation along with Dhvani Joshi, who is my co-presenter, and we have worked together on this particular presentation. So the topic or the theme of this presentation is rasa aesthetics of Chhau. And as you would have seen in Sharon Lowen's particular presentation, that she talked about on Chhau, and she also presented some of the masks. And she also very rightly mentioned the changes in terms of the mask. It is profound, from one decade to another. You can see the change in terms of mask, and that has been one of the things that we also notice in our presentation. So I'm going to just quickly share the PowerPoint presentation and talk you through this. So our topic is Rasa Aesthetics of Chhau, exploring moods and emotions in Purulia Chhau dance mask. And quickly, I'll just give you a kind of an overview as to what Chhau is. It's a martial dance drama mainly based on stories derived from Hindu mythological texts like Ramayana, Mahabharata and Purana. It is also known as the dance drama of the gods. It is performed by artists who impersonate mythological characters by wearing elaborate masks and enacting the story in a performance tradition that melds dance, acrobatic routines, and martial arts. The masks are specifically designed keeping in mind the rasa. Okay, so what we are trying to do is we are going to focus on rasa theory, which has been propounded by Bharata in Natyashastra, one of the treatises which has been very, very important for the performing arts, especially in the Hindu culture. And the article explores how Navarasa, or the 9 aesthetics or emotions and essence or sentiments in context of the dance, has been applied to design and style of the Chhau masks. So most of the stories in Chhau revolves around war or combat. Therefore, what we see is 3 important rasas, or 3 predominant rasas, like Vira, which is all about displaying one's strength, and then Raudra is about anger, and Bibhatsa is about horrifying kind of a rasa. So we use 3 different dance pieces from Purulia Chhau and different masks utilized in that, from Mahisasur Mardini, Kirat Arjuna, and Parasuramer Matri Hatya. So these are the kind of dance forms that we are talking about. So just to give you a kind of a brief about Chhau, how it started, it had its origin in military camps where, which was earlier known as Chhauni, and through the kind of martial arts display or the military sharing their own kind of combat skills in display to entertain each other, that Chhauni, somewhere the connotation stuck. But also Chhaya. Chhaya means shadow in Hindi, and Chhaya is also somewhat, in a way people attribute that probably it also comes from that Chhaya, that mask, becomes that takes over as a shadow onto the person and what they represent. So Purulia Chhau is a mask-based dance, and it starts during the Chaitra festival season, which is around mid-March, according to the Hindu calendar. And the dance drama focuses mainly on the aspects of good winning over evil. And in recent repertoire, stories of local leaders of the region and other cultural stories have also been added, such as Birsa Munda, one of the biggest tribal leaders from Jharkhand region, and Sidhu Kanu, again, in West Bengal and Jharkhand area. They are very well respected. So Chhau, it's a particular dance form. If you look at that particular map, it is mainly in the eastern part of India, practiced in the areas of Jharkhand, where you will find the Saraikela style of Chhau. In West Bengal, you will find Purulia or the Manbhum style of Chhau. And in Orissa, you will see Mayurbhanj style of Chhau. So the difference between the 3 is that Orissa, Mayurbhanj style of Chhau doesn't use any masks, whereas Saraikela, it's more of a kind of a very lyrical style of dancing, while the West Bengal's Purulia Chhau dance is more of a martial arts kind of very vigorous, very kind of acrobatic form. And there is also another form of Kharsama, which again does not use mask as such. So very interesting kind of forms of mask that you see. And here are some recent masks. And it was interesting to see that Sharon was able to show lots of these masks from 60s and 70s, and which is really good. And in fact, I'll ask her to give me those photographs because I can always do a comparison of these masks. So masks in Chhau dance actually play a very important role. It sets the role and mood of the character. Each mask represents one specific emotion that is loudly expressed through the design, color, and decoration. So with mask attached to one specific emotion, the focus of the dance form is through Angika Abhinaya, bodily expressions except facial or the Mukha Abhinaya, and Aharya Abhinaya, which is all about the interplay of costumes and scenes. So these are some of the things which Dhvani is going to discuss in detail. So also again, going back into the history, and what I'm doing is trying to give you some kind of understanding of the local area as well and the local people and how things are performed through the photographs. So it has a history of more than 1500 years, and it has gone through many transitions. So mainly the caste Hindus and indigenous people of East India practice Chhau, and growth of Chhau can be attributed to the early middle class, early middle age warriors called Paikas. And they particularly, as I said, they were demonstrating these particular martial arts during the priest time, just to entertain each other. And later on, these skills were demonstrated during ritualistic worship of Surya or sun god and Lord Shiva during the religious festival of the areas. Thus the fusion with the ritual and religion was incorporated in Paika, the dance of the warriors. So Paika and Natwa and Nachni, these are the three dance forms which precedes Chhau, or rather the mix of all three dance forms actually gives birth to Chhau dance. So it's an interesting kind of movement from one dance form to another. But there are also many rituals associated with Chhau dance. And the most important in terms of the Purulia style of Chhau dance is Shiv Gajan. Shiv Gajan is the worship of Lord Shiva by the people of the village, and they come together and they dance and they also perform, different kind of rituals. And, for the start of the agricultural season, for the new year that is going to start with the Chatra. So all those particular elements are very much in there till date. But also what we need to understand that Chhau is not just a Hindu form. Over the years, it changed or metamorphosed into a dance form which takes on a whole lot of Hindu fables or stories from Puranas. But, there are lots of tribal practices that are mixed with Hindu tradition in this dance form because it was developed in those particular indigenous belts of Eastern India. So you will see a whole lot of elements of Munda, Bhumaj, Orao, Kho, Harya. These are the kind of, tribal or indigenous groups in these areas, and they would practice their own forms of, dance. And that's how it develops. And one can find, aspects of animism, nature worship, totemism, and shamanism in Chhau as well. So, calling it just a Hindu dance, it probably is very wrong. And many of the people actually, end up calling it as a Hindu dance, which is a bit kind of a misnomer or a mistake. It is a dance which has developed, and of course it takes on things from Ramayana and Mahabharata. So, as I said, the Chhau dancers impersonate the characters by wearing a mask in this drama. Mask becomes the main center or the cynosure of Chhau. And one of the interesting things is that, and I always get time, whenever I get time, I do visit this village of the mask makers. And this is a specific village where every family, their livelihood is based on making masks for the Purulia style of Chhau. And this is a specific community of Sutradhars who make masks. And they have also shared the history as to how they have changed the style and structure of the mask and how they also keep in mind the role, mood, and emotion of each characters to design these masks, and especially the factor of the rasas. So some of the things which you need to also understand, that Chhau is very much integrated within the rituals. There are a whole lot of rituals that goes into a performance. It is just not a performance for entertainment. It is a performance which binds religion, the regional practices of different indigenous groups, as well as a kind of a developed kind of a thinking around how best they can invoke things or talk about or showcase their dance form. So Dhumal Bhajana and Daruva are the ones where they start before any performance. It is a prayer offered to the gods. Costumes, musical instruments, and masks. So mask becomes an important thing that they have to worship these things before they start performing. Akhara Bandhana is the veneration of the arena where they are going to perform. Sabha Bandhana is the worship of audience. Udan Bhajana is the musical invocation, also to worship, praying to the music and musical invocation for the audience. And finally, the performance starts with Ganesh Bandhana. So these are the main things. So, but the most important thing is that we are delving into the analysis of the rasas here. So I will now invite Dhvani to talk more about this, about the rasa aesthetics.
Thank you, Vikrant. Jumping straight into the rasa aesthetics, considering we have time constraints here, Indian poetics has spoken extensively about the theory of rasa, which is one of the most dominant theories within Indian poetics and Indian criticism. So we are trying to understand how this theory of rasa applies to Purulia Chhau masks, and it allows for a kind of an aesthetic breakthrough to occur within the minds of the spectators. So as Vikrant pointed out, this theory was propounded in Natyashastra by sage Bharata, and following that, Abhinav Gupta also has done massive works on the rasa theory, where they explain that rasa basically, literally it might mean juice or essence or taste, but in the theory, rasa means an aesthetic breakthrough or a pleasure or some kind of sentiments that are evoked in an audience upon witnessing a piece of art. So to understand that, we need to understand bhava. As Sharon ma'am said, the sthai bhava, they are the core emotions that each and every human being is born with. It is innate to every human being. So you can, and these bhavas, they always come to the forefront when we are presented with certain stimulating situations. So you can control this sthai bhava or the core emotions, you can overpower them, but they cannot be uprooted completely from your system. So if we just move to the next slide, please. So here you can see there is a karika from Natyashastra which says Vibhavanubhava Vyabhichari Sanyogat Rasnishpatti, which simply means that Vibhav, that is determinants or some kind of a cause, combined with Anubhava, which is your consequent emotional reaction, along with the Vyabhichari Bhav, which are your temporary effects or fleeting emotions, when they combine together and they enhance the sthai bhava, which are the core emotions within all human beings, which in turn transform into an aesthetic experience, which is your rasanubhava. So if we go to the next slide, and the one after that, please. You can see that the shloka, Shrungara Karuna Vira Raudra Hasya Bhayanaka Bibhatsad Bhut Shantascha Navanatya Rasasnuta, taken directly from the treatise Natyashastra, gives the names of the 9 rasas. Based on the left column, you can see the 9 sthai bhava or core emotions which are present within all of us, all human beings. So these 9 sthai bhavas evoke the 9 corresponding rasas into each one of us. So the usage of masks renders a kind of uniqueness to Purulia Chhau, because Purulia Chhau as an art form does not use dialogues. So the performer relies on angik abhinay, which is your physical movements, bodily movements, along with the masks, which is the aharya abhinay, to evoke rasa or aesthetic pleasure within the audiences or the spectators' minds. If we go to the next slide, there you can see the mask of goddess Durga over there. And I will request you to go to the next slide, Vikrant, where, so this is, I'm going to talk briefly about the Mahisasur Mardini, which is a very popular repertoire in Purulia Chhau, because it talks about the victory of goddess Durga over the demon king Mahisasura. To give a very quick background, demon king Mahisasura in Indian mythology terrorizes all the gods in the heaven. So Lord Shiva sends his sons Ganesha and
1 minute left. Kindly conclude, please, according to the rule of this conference.
All right. So I'll quickly, briefly touch upon the Raudra Ras, which is the anger portrayed to the mask of goddess Durga. You have the elephant god Ganesha's mask in the next slide, which portrays the Vira Rasa. So Chhau masks, obviously, mask making is a very refined and a very evolved and a specialized kind of an art form from the Chorida community. And along with the Angik Abhinay, which is the acrobatic dance movements and the spins, Purulia Chhau incorporates these highly stylized masks where they have hand-painted makeup, these beautiful sequence works, the headgears, which are very light, although they are huge, that allow for Aharya Abhinay. So the combination of the two, along with the Navarasas, emoted with the combination of Aharya and Angik Abhinay, allows for Rasanubhava to the viewers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhvani.